Hey, everybody! I don't have my countdown anymore since I did my update on this software. I was looking for it. How you doing? Today is Thursday, December 2nd. Sorry about that. Thursday, December 2nd, 2021. My name is Ryan Stacey. I am the Director of Investigations for the Experiential Support Association. I'm also a private investigator, actively involved in all things paranormal, including UFOs, ghosts, paranormal, all those things. The purpose of this video is to do a live Q&A, answer any questions you might have, if you have any. I had a little bit of a rough morning. I do apologize. I'm very tired today, but I'm here. So if you are watching this on the replay, just remember that I do this video Mondays and Thursdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what I do is I just answer questions if anybody has it, talk about things that's going on, and I'll share posts that have come up or that are interesting that I found within the last video. Okay, so if you're watching this, say hello so I know that you're here, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so where do I begin? Well, let me share my screen here. I'm very tired today. I had a doctor's appointment this morning. I had to be tired for it. So yeah. All right. So first things first, I have to be aware of the retaliation of how certain guests might or have proven in the past display what appears to be a totality or an entire opinion on a certain point in which someone's going to prove. And what I mean by that, for those of you who remember, we had Randy Kramer on our podcast last Thursday, I believe. And there was some heated conversations within the conversation. There were some questions. There was a whole bunch of things that was asked. And Randy got mad and Randy got upset, and then I had to de-escalate. But overall, it was a good show. And then I went through the comments. I did the comments, and a lot of people are judging Tessa because we had this man on the show. And I feel like I explained myself well enough, but I need to kind of explain myself again, and because now there's another step in which Stephen, who was the one who presented the comments within that, has created a video explaining himself and all the other things and referencing the podcast. So it's not illegal for him to do so. He's using it under what's called fair use. It's just something we need to be aware of. He is projecting, obviously, his own thoughts on the matter, which is absolutely okay. I haven't finished watching the video yet. I'm just about to get to the part where he's going to lay down some facts. The first fact that he has set down to prove his point is very, very interesting, and I just haven't gotten into that yet. But the first part was him basically breaking down the things that Randy had said and the lies that, according to Stephen, that have come out of it. So what I want to talk about, first of all, is that when I'm a host of Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, my job is to be objective and to allow the guests to speak and say whatever they want. If you do watch my body language, you can tell when I believe something and when I don't, but I still have to, do my best to allow the conversation to continue even when someone escalates. So Stephen mentions at the beginning of this video that I believe Randy Kramer 100%. That is not correct. I do not believe anything 100%. I do believe that that in the story in which that he's telling and the reasons why he's telling it, but I do not have enough evidence to go either way on whether or not it's factual or credible, because there's a lot of things within a 2-hour episode that can be vetted as a positive, and that could also be shown as a negative. It's a big mess. So what I appreciate, though, is that this special video that Stephen has made, where he focuses on the facts that to prove his point to hello, Robert Lampkey. How do I say your name? Hello, Robert. Good to see you. Greetings. I understand where he's coming from because he has evidence, he has a background, difference of opinion. So this is still an analysis for a different motive and a different intent. His background, his understanding is looking at the fraud element, the credibility, the testimony, because there's money involved and things like that. So there is some validity in his argument that the credibility of the source is very important when they're having the sale. I agree with him. I am in a difficult spot right now because I'm now watching this objectively, and I will have to report on this again because it has a chain reaction per se. But I want to emphasize that when I'm the host of the podcast, I don't have time to fact check the comments. I can't look at the evidence when you say certain things. So please don't expect me to believe the commenters or the guests 100% when we're doing this podcast. In order to validate and verify all that stuff, that's not the type of podcast that Beyond the Tinfoil Hat is. Now with Stephen here, what he's done on this podcast here on his video is, as he's explained, why he believes what he believes, and I'm hoping that when I get to the end of the video, I will have some evidence to at least agree with some things and other things. End of the day, I don't want anyone to forget that these are two human beings, both in America, who have access to the same information and things like that. These opinions and all these things are present. I welcome that, and I like this style, but I'm not encouraging, the bullying that Stephen is, the bullying tactics in which Stephen uses to convey his point. And so I just want to kind of put that out there, Stephen, if you are listening to that. I understand where you're going with it, and I appreciate how you're drawing the facts, and I allowed you to use this video for that. I didn't think you would do it, but you did. But, I just want to make it clear that I do not condone bullying and victimization. So when you are, and now this video is already done and I haven't finished it yet, and I'll let you know that I've done this video so you can watch that and comment on that. If I do happen to involve you again in the same way that we did with this one, it is to obviously give you the chance to be heard as a commenter, because we have that balance too. They have the right to ask for questions, and Randy has the right to answer them or not. How he reacts to things like that, that's totally, you can break that down in the science. I don't have time for that. But he does. So it becomes a tool. It can be useful. It can be a team thing if done well. But I just want to emphasize that here in Canada, the language that is being used to attack the other person while trying to defend your own credibility is not something I condone and not something I appreciate. So we'll kind of go from there. And the other thing too is you got the name of the company wrong. It's the Experience Your Support Association, not the Disclosure Network. It sounds cool, but that's not who we are. And also, don't assume that I believe. I allow and I can encourage the conversation in order to keep them in the chair and to balance the peace, because your question, whether it's right or wrong, enraged him, and I had to de-escalate that in order to make the show continue, in order to keep him in the chair and to allow the show to move on. That doesn't mean that I believe it. That doesn't mean that I agree with it. It just means that I acknowledged that there was emotions and it was live, and I had to do some de-escalation. That's it. But that doesn't mean I agree 110% with everything that anyone says ever, and no one should. So I want that to be absolutely clear to any other thing in the podcast. There's a disclaimer at the beginning of our podcast to say those things. Maybe I'll have people sign a waiver to make sure it's absolutely clear. It's never been an issue like this before to this extent. We've had someone else on our podcast before, Michael Horn, with Billy Myers and all that other stuff. A lot of people disagree and agree with him and all those other things. Same thing. But a difference of opinion is okay. Facts and all these other things, probable cause and all these other things, blah, blah, blah. I get that. My podcast, Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, is not a place for that. I just want that to be clear. So what I like though is that Stephen took that video and now he's using that video to do his analysis on his target, Randy, for whatever reason. So I'm okay with that. I expect that. That happens all the time. But I just want to be clear that if you're going to swing at me, on these videos, which I gave you permission and to do your thing, and I didn't expect you to follow through, so you get a pass. But if you're gonna, I need you to understand that I'm not this guy that you have right now in that host chair on those in that chair. So I just want to make that clear. And if you want to, if you want to trade, we can definitely trade. And I can tell you how your body language and how your emotions are affecting your credibility in this video so far. However, I do understand you and I do understand Randy, and I just want to look at the evidence, and that's it. Okay. So please, if you're going to drag me into this, which is good for advertisement, I'm talking about it, but just doing a little bit of damage control so that way there's video testimony of that. I'm not ignoring it. Talk to me if you're unsure about what's going on. All right. So anyways, moving on. And Randy, I mean, innocent until proven guilty. There's a lot of things that are questionable, even for me, I'll be honest. There are things that didn't necessarily match with what I've been told or what I have learned, but I don't end that's circumstantial, opinionated evidence. I understand what you're trying to do, understand the motive, the story, all these other things is no different than any other experience or story in terms of validity and credibility and how we can prove it until we get disclosure. So it's possible, but there are, like, as Stephen has shown, and there are other ways to check and verify certain information, and there are some flags. But I do cater to the person as a human being, and Randy knows that. And Randy also knows that if we were ever to partner up with Tessa or anything like that, I want to be that clear, he would have to produce these documents in order for us to exchange in business. Okay? So if I don't engage in business with Randy, then that just might mean that A, he doesn't want to do business, it's not within his goals. B, he's unable to provide. And if that's the case, then that's the case. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to go that. There's a lot of professional partners that we don't have because they have not provided the documentation. That's when we ask for that. That's when it's important. And if I'm going to market you and advertise you and do all these other things like that, your credibility needs to be important. So this whole point, it's encouraging. So Stephen, if you're listening to this, I don't know if you're doing it live, but on this replay, you're still at this point. I could use this openly as a strategy to willingly get some information on some stuff in the disclosure part. However, before I endorse it 110% as a tactic, I want to clean you up a little bit in terms of your strategy, if that makes sense, because then I'd be taking responsibility for how you act by giving you all these other things. And, you're free to do whatever you want. You have your ways, but you could be better. Anyways. All right. So check out this video. I haven't finished it yet, so I'm kind of endorsing it, half not endorsing it. I just kind of up to the point of where I am. Somewhere near the middle, he starts talking about other facts and things like that. So there's a bunch of other things that are interesting. So let's get into other things. So tonight, actually today, is Tim the Demon Guy Morrison's birthday. So happy birthday, Timmy. I will be seeing you throughout the day for all those things. But tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we will be on the Observation Decks podcast. Oh, let me go back here. So we will not be having a podcast on our channel, but we will be guesting here. And this is Tim's birthday special in the sense. What we're actually going to do is we're going to be explaining to the observation deck what Tessa is. We're going to be featuring myself and Tim Morrison, possibly Chantel. I'm not sure if she's available or not. I haven't got the link yet. So we just didn't add it to the marketing yet because we weren't sure. I hadn't had a chance to talk to her because I had to cancel the meeting yesterday. And yeah, so that's going to be tune in tonight. That'll be a great show. I don't know how long their podcasts normally run. Let's see if we can figure that out. Okay, it looks like they only last about a half hour or so. It won't be too long, which is good. So you can find them on YouTube, the Observation Deck. So hit subscribe there. and then you'll be able to tune in. I will have the link posted up there, because the reason why I was looking at that is because immediately after that, I'm on Midnight FM, an actual radio. This is radio tonight with Tim Weisberg. This is a pretty decent, high caliber radio show. So there's going to be tons of broadcasts, tons of listeners, lots of stuff to cover. I'm going to be bringing my A game tonight. So it's 9 p.m. midnight Central. So what that is actually 10 p.m. Eastern time for me, for us on the other side. Well put together package here for the podcast. It goes for 2 hours or on the radio. So you just click here, you go listen live at 10 p.m. And hopefully there might be a return or a recording afterwards that I can share with you guys. But if not, tune in there. And both of these podcasts with Tim and with Observation Deck and Midnight FM, I will be talking about Experience Your Day. So yesterday, put through the all the marketing stuff. I had to send it out to a whole bunch of people and distribute and all these other things. Sorry, I didn't have a chance to send it to the entire tested team for approval beforehand. David Petrella, I apologize. I spelled your name wrong. I am really sorry about that. Again, one-man show here on this back end. I'm hoping that once we get these professional partners, we'll be able to hand all that stuff over and they can take care of it and make things a little bit easier. But so what is Experience Your Day? Experience Your Day is December 9th, 2021. This is the first annual event that we're going to do online to say thank you to experiencers. We have so many things that are going to happen. So emphasize that you must subscribe to our YouTube channel in order to see this. So if you head over to YouTube, type in the Experiencer Support Association, hit subscribe. If you join, you become a member, you get bonus content as well, bonus videos and things like that. So that's where you want to be. I'm going to share with you the artwork and how it, so this is the poster banner here. So the Experiencer Support Association, Experience Your Day, subscribe to the Experiencer Support Association, 12/9/21. What is kind of interesting about this date, and I realized when I put it that way, is you got 1, 2, and 9 in the middle, and 2, 1, mirror image. Kind of thought that was kind of interesting imagery there, the symbolism, geometry. Coincidence? Maybe not. You're not alone. We're also using hashtags Experience Your Day, eDay 2021, and Tessa Rock. So if you guys use those hashtags throughout the show, throughout the whole day, I will be checking them and we will be commenting, and maybe, just maybe, there'll be some prizes or something for the best posts and things like that too for Experience Your Day. Who knows? The next one here is our itinerary. So this is the plan for the entire day on Thursday. So it's in the Eastern time. There's multiple time zones. There's multiple people coming together to put on some presentations. So what needs to happen, sorry with that, is we just got to line everything up. So if you're catching this on the replay, it'll be on a playlist at the end of the day, or you can tune in and catch up. But this is basically what's going on. 9:30 in the morning, there'll be a live video stream. We're just opening the event, talking about what's going on, explaining everything in detail, and getting everyone pumped for the show. How to win, how to do things, when to tune in, how to find anything. It's going to be a quick little video in that sense. Then at 10:30, we're going to kick the show off, the day off, with the Ultra Spectrum, which is going to be a presentation from Tim the Demon Guy Morrison. He's actually going to break down the Ultra Spectrum, how it works, talk about some cases, some stuff like that, and he's going to give a presentation on that. I will be behind the scenes the entire day, producing this, doing the slides, moving things around, and making sure that everything is going. CC will also be assisting me by introducing each presentation and closing each presentation. It's going to be good. And at 12 p.m., I'm going to do my live Q&A just like this. But what's going to be different about it is I'm going to show you a new intro and a new outro. I'm going to give you a tour of the observation deck. And maybe I just might throw in, I don't know, maybe I might ask Tim. I think maybe Tim can stick around and he could ask me questions, ask me hard questions for this live Q&A. Maybe we can do it that style or something like that, off the cuff, random stuff. And then Everyday Astrology. So Dave Petrella. So it's with an E, not an A. I apologize. His name is Petrella. I apologize. So he's going to do a presentation on everyday astrology, birth charts and whatnot. So we've only got an hour there, so that's going to be great. And we're looking forward to that. Experiencers Anonymous will start at 3 p.m. on that day with CC. It will last roughly until 4:30, 5-ish. There will be a link. So when you at the opener, we will show where to get that link. If you are interested in signing up for EA for that day, just head over to the website, tessacan.org/EA. And then just fill out this form, and then I'll send you the link directly on that day for that. So that will be out. I'll be working on that over the weekend / Monday. Then after that, we'll have a presentation from Alex Mistretta. He's going to be talking about live dinosaurs, Bigfoot, saber-tooth. The full title will be on the thumbnail. It's something from the past or how we forget our past. It's a really nice title, and whatnot. Followed by that at 6:30 p.m. will be The Ghost That Followed Us Home, which is a chapter from one of Serena Drace's books. So she's going to be reading that. That's the official chapter there. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be our E-Day Roundtable with the 2019-2020 experiencers. So we've already sent an email out yesterday. I've already got some feedback. Some people will be showing up to the show. If you haven't responded to that email yet, please do it, because I need to know who's planning on attending, so I know who to send the links to, and I know what cases to prep for this event. What this is going to be is experiencers are going to come forward with identification numbers and share their stories, and I'm going to share the evidence that as it's been presented to me, and help verify the possibility that something has happened. And then we'll close the night off with John Majorowski from UFOs on the Level. We're doing a new broadcast called UFOs Without Borders, and that would be hopefully a reoccurring event that will run on our channel. And that's simply what he's going to do: straight facts, straight points, talking about Canadian documents that I've released, that we've released, or that we've gathered, and apply that to American ufology and everything else that's going on. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not quite sure if he's going to do it solo, but I'll be available for all of these in the back end to make sure this all runs efficiently. I'll have to have a couple computers going and things like that too, but I got that all figured out and planned. And yeah, so it's going to be a good day. And then the E-Day closer, we'll be just wrapping it all up. I plan to dump the rest of some CPR videos, so Citizen Paranormal Report, just to get them out of the way to close the year off. And that's that. So remember, live streams all day. Another thing I want to kind of point out too is that you guys like to super chat, and you guys also like to send super stickers. So for this day event, we will be donating half of the proceeds to TESSA, the Experiencer Support Association, instead of all the proceeds from the super chats. But we're going to give half of that to the Shriners Hospital for Children. So you can find that link here. Let me just show you. It's a non-for-profit organization. It was selected because John Majorowski is a Shriner, and he's very passionate about these programs, and he's also a Mason. I am a Mason as well, and we wanted to select a charity that we could give back to, and so this is the one we've selected. So it basically helps sick kids, things like that, burn wards. There's so many great things that these individuals help with when you donate to that. So we're going to be good. So all super chats and donations, so all super chats and super stickers on that day for all those videos will get donated. Half of that will get donated to sick kids, to Shriners Hospitals for Children. I see your comments. I'll get to those in a minute. Last but not least, these are our sponsors for 2021 E-Day, which is Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. For those who don't know, that's my private investigating firm. That's who does your investigations for TESSA. That's who does your research. That's who does your background checks. All those other things is that private investigating company, not the Experiencer Support Association. The Experiencer Support Association is one that broadcasts and creates the content such as this in order to take that information and make it public. And of course, protected by Blacklight. The Observation Deck is a huge sponsor, which we will be broadcasting this inside that event as well. If you guys are not familiar with the Observation Deck, I will be explaining what that is at the podcast tonight. All right, and we'll be talking about all that. Show some videos if we can. and go from there. And of course, John Majorowski's UFOs on the Level, his podcast there. So he's also a sponsor. And you notice there's only 3. We've had the sponsorship out for a long time. We've asked a whole bunch of people if they're willing to be a part of any event. And I've gotten some backflack saying that they wanted to be a part of this. How come we didn't ask them? I said, you already said no. And then the excuse was, well, you didn't ask if we would do an event. And I said, well, no, I asked you if you wanted to support Tessa and what Tessa is doing in its totality. And because you said no then, all of a sudden you see something of interest and value, you want to be a part of it. Well, that's too bad for you. These are people that understand the mission and that know where it's going to go. And if you would like to sponsor next year, you can. And now so too bad, too sad. We're not, and what that tells me is that you're just looking for marketing, you're looking for exchange, blah, 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 and things like that. And I'm not looking for that. Not happening. Sorry, not sorry. So from there, you must subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're not on YouTube, you're on Facebook, all these other things, Twitch, Twitter. Subscribe to the channel so that way you see the live videos. I will try and share them on the stream as they go out throughout the day. I can only make the live links on Monday. So all those other things as well, and go from there. All right, so let's get to the comments. Hello, Lisa. Ryan, my book is available on Amazon. I saw that email. I haven't responded to it yet. Good job, Lisa. I'm happy about that. Okay, you did send me about it in the link. Now, I still want, so I can get a paper copy, right? I'll look at it and we'll see, but I still want a signed copy from you, so we'll figure out how that goes. I think you can order what's called author copies. So ask those people, because that's what I do too. These author copies, I get them a little bit cheaper because I'm able to bring them and distribute them and sell them in person. The prices on Amazon will include the cost to make the book and a little bit of profit, however that's going to be and however you market that. But for you, just so you know, you don't need to pay that price. You should request author copies, get a whole bunch. So you're only paying for the printing. Okay. And then if you want to give them away for free, then you can. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, at the Experience Your Day roundtable, all those who do attend, we will be giving away some prizes and stuff like that. And I'll be figuring out all those details a little bit later as well. Once again, I do apologize. I am tired today, but I'm still here. Robert Lampke, I will be at the observation deck to watch. Awesome. So just so you guys know, let me see what I can share here. The observation deck. Gotta find the link. Observationdeck.com. Can't remember what the link is. Observation deck. Here we go. So this is a virtual platform that will allow us to interact in person. So, kind of virtually. So it's really cool. This is a professional partner in which we are going to spend the next year with, hanging out in here. So those who are YouTube members will also get a benefit of this as well. So we're going to kind of merge our membership tiers to kind of include equal perks and benefits. I will be showing you some cool little things. Maybe I can show you right now. Let me see what I can find for you. Media programs, brand marketing, events. Yep, let's find events, observation deck. So it's kind of a virtual platform. There's my guy right there, in which I can walk around and I can talk to you guys with my microphone on. We can shake hands. We can sit in private booths, have conversations, run around and explore. So it's a good event-oriented program in which we can get to meet a bunch of you can kind of come and have private conversations one-on-one, if I'm hanging out in here. Just figuring out the logistics. This is the office space right now. This is our Experiencer Hall that we will be using to broadcast in as well. This has just been recently set up. Things like that. And our if you'll notice that this is our expo booth. That's all set up too. So Robert, if you're in there, take a look. Let us know. Explore that. It's there, strategically placed right beside Richard Dolan. Why? Because I want to get his attention. And if Richard Dolan pops in here, guess what? I'll be in here in the virtual world, and I'll be talking to Dolan because I want to know what's going on. I want in the club. But anyways, that's that. We're all fans of Dolan, so can't get any closer than that because Richard Dolan will sit here and you'll see my ugly mug right across the screen there. So I think this is optimum for advertisement. But anyways, I'll explore more in detail how that really works on Experience Your Day. Of course, for you guys inside the observation deck already, you will already. It'll kind of seem redundant. It might be a little bit of inception for you because you'll see yourself inside yourself and all those other things as I'm doing it, but it'll be fun. Lisa says, yes, paperback. I'll be having a book launch and I'll be attending Experience Your Day. And I like Richard. Right on. I like Richard too. But I mean, there are some things that Richard says that aren't factual and credible. Like, I mean, like I am sure there's things that I might have said on here that may have not been entirely true, speculated upon. I might have made some mistakes and leaks and things like that. And I'm willing to sit and trade conversations if anybody decides to do that. And I will make mistakes and I will own up to them if you really want to spend some time having those conversations. Hi, Serena. Waves. I will. But I mean, the effort and the energy that goes into the smear campaigns is surprising. There's just as much people watching those who don't believe just as much as people watching those who do believe. And the interesting thing about Randy is that there are some people that do like what he's doing, and it is helpful and it does help them. And they can defend that. And Randy can defend himself for certain reasons and things like that. And there are people that are just out to prove the fraud in the entire industry. So you can't just attack one without attacking the other. It goes on both sides. But in the middle, what's really displaying is how mad and angry and upset everybody really is, and how much we need support in general for everything. So I will end by reminding everyone that when I'm a host for a podcast, I'm giving equal opportunity and equal space. I may say some things to massage and to encourage conversation so they feel comfortable. I may give them outs. I may give them chances to defend themselves so that way they can explain themselves, because I'm very good at interrogating and communicating in that sense. It's a job that I do, but I do that just to make sure and to emphasize. But if you actually go through and listen to the things I say and the way that I say it, you'll understand. You'll be able to tell what I believe and what I don't believe. However, just because I don't say that in the show doesn't mean that I don't believe everything about it. And if I say I believe you in the show, I do believe their experience. I believe that they believe something has happened. That doesn't mean I understand what it is, because Randy's not the only person who's ever experienced anything involving the secret space program. So this is the problem. If that stuff is true and can't be proven, that makes it hard. But I mean, if it's a secret program and doesn't exist, it makes sense why you can't find anything. But both possibilities are hard to prove, can't be proven, but they both must exist. They have to exist. Whether or not Randy is intentionally doing that or not, that's up to the people, and he does, and that's up to everyone to individually decide. It could be fraud if intent is proven. It could be there are holes in these that are missing. The attempt to do all these other things and all that other stuff, the ones who are involved with the events will have a better understanding when they go through it, when you're outside looking at it, when you haven't taken the course, you haven't done all these other things. There's different levels of experience, there's different levels of understanding that makes parts of what you're saying possible and probable, but it's not actual factual. There's a lot of energy, a lot of time wasted, but there's reviews and there's people listening to both sides. I'm talking about this. You're wondering what the hell is that? And I'm just kind of explaining, because I got drawn into this, that this is an example of why we're not necessarily getting the whole truth and everything but the truth on every podcast. If you go to every live video, I might have said something like this before. I might have said something different because my day is different. I'm talking different today because I didn't sleep properly. That is information that's missing. That doesn't mean I don't care today. It just means I'm tired today. So there's a lot of things that need to be broken down. But when I have someone in the chair for 2 hours and you're asking questions that piss somebody off, I have to give you the opportunity to be heard. I have to give them the opportunity to say whatever they choose to say. And then I have to keep it going at a respectable level that the conversation could continue. And that doesn't mean I have to do all that without believing any of it, because it doesn't matter, because it can't be proven in that time frame. Of course, after the fact, we do videos like this, and are the same people who watch the podcast watching this? Some are, some aren't. So this is also important information that I'm putting out here. If I can remember, like starting in 2022, I will be adding, I think it should be best to add key points to my thumbnail, so that way we can go back and find the topics that are touched upon in these live Q&As. I don't have any topics ahead of time because I never know what I'm saying, and it's live and it's off the cuff. But I think we would benefit if I were to go back and be like, yeah, this is the one when Ryan explains Randy Kramer, or this is the one that explains this and that. I don't have time to do all that right now, but I am going to do that moving forward. So, and that would be just an example. I'd be like, look, this is what you thought. I understand why you perceive it this way. You don't have all the information. Here's a better explanation, because I don't have to worry about emotions. I don't have to worry about the people attacking the people in the comments. It wasn't just a comment. It was also people defending Randy, people attacking the other people for expressing their own opinions. It was garbage. It was not something that I would want, but it's something that I'm aware of. It's something that always happens. And I just want to make it clear that just because it takes place on our channel in this spot within that time doesn't mean that we accept and believe everything. You guys, can mediate amongst yourself. That's the whole point, by creating that opportunity. I read the comments. I look for evidence. No evidence, moving forward. I can understand both sides. Both sides on any argument can be believed. That's why we have juries, and why we have 12 in a jury, so that we can get a consensus that everyone from different perspectives and different ways of life and different understanding and different backgrounds come to the same conclusion with the same evidence. Okay? No evidence doesn't mean that the real evidence doesn't exist. That's hard. Just because the government hasn't confirmed that UFOs exist doesn't mean they don't. It just means they haven't released that information. That doesn't mean it's not in their possession, and that makes it hard. We've got to remember that. Okay? My military service, okay? I didn't take any pictures while I'm in service because we were told not to. I took a picture of my cot at the end of my day. That's our end of my tour, end of my session. I don't say tour, I didn't tour, but end of my time. Okay, that was it. That was my last sleep on that cot in that barracks and everything, and that was a memento. And I got permission, and I took that photo then, and that's the only photo that I have. That's it. Other than photos around my injuries and things like that happened while in service, and things like that. I don't have any regalia. I don't have any pictures of me in the uniform. I got my boots. I got my badges. I got everything. I got everything sitting there in my display cabinet over there. But I couldn't produce a photo. And if I don't produce a photo, does that mean I'm not in the Army? No. And if if I don't have it and I can't produce it, and you get mad and use that as evidence that it doesn't exist, that doesn't affect me. That doesn't bother me, because I know it exists. And I see some of that in Randy. Now, that doesn't mean he's not lying. You have to give benefit of the doubt on both sides to find the truth of the whole picture. That's where this balance is. You say I'm not being objective. I am being objective. It's just you're not looking at both sides, because I bet, Stephen, if you made it this far, I bet, without knowing you, that there is some fire and drive inside of you that's related to the system, politics, something bad, something has hurt you, something has affected you in some way through this phenomenon, and your drive is to expose the truth, because you may have been wrong yourself. And that's a profile. I don't have you talking to me right now. I don't have the information. I also could be wrong, but that's where I'm feeling right now with how you're reacting. And you're just as able to do that and welcome to do that as anybody else. And you are right as well. So is Randy. It would be nice to have everybody together in the room, having the same conversation to hash it out. But you can't force someone to have a conversation they're not willing to have, unless you want to take this to court. So there's levels and layers and opportunities and when these conversations can happen, but they don't have to engage. And if they don't engage, it doesn't mean they're lying. It just means they all the feelings, all the emotions, all the stress, oh, not this again. There's a lot of legitimate things for anything that people just don't, they're just fed up with. And they don't want to go through that again. And that doesn't mean they're not credible just in those moments. Now, having finished the whole video, and I understand you're laid out your points and the evidence that exists. I know the evidence that exists to prove your points. I'm hoping that you're going to show those and convey and not convince. FYI, convey your message, not convince. And I'm happy to discuss that. Where am I with Randy right now? He's just a guest on the podcast. That's it for now. And if he wants to take a next level, and he has an equal opportunity to become a member of Tesla like everybody else, if he wants to go through that level, he's going to have to go through the same process as everyone else. He's going to have to give me a driver's license. I'm going to have to do a background check, all these things. I will dig up all that stuff that you already have then. But I'm not going to do that now, because he's just a guy sitting in the chair talking about his experience. That's it for that podcast. So if you're going to take future podcasts of ours and you're going to break them apart because these are your targets and these are things, then continue to do so. Just be mindful. I don't want you to bully and victimize. I don't want you to use that as an opportunity. I want to make sure that you fully understand my position in that role, and it's separate from my investigative work and research and interrogations and stuff, because if someone was a target of mine, they wouldn't find out until a journalist writes about it and puts it in the paper. FYI. So there are things that I know, there are things that I do as a matter of when and how and why. I don't have time to do that in an hour. Okay. So I appreciate what you're doing. I hope that we have an understanding. I hope the rest of the video is good. And depending on how you line up your facts with this, I may actually have a task for you that could be useful, and we'll see where you go with it. All right, because I just want to make sure that you're not victimizing and you're not bullying. And I understand that your character, your nature, all these other things, all information that I don't know about you, that could be projected through this. And I understand you have a following, you have an influence, you get encouraged, and I get it. I'm tracking that. But don't forget the human being, because if he is a fraud, there's fear, there's abuse, evidence of abuse. They're going to look at why there's a fraud. There's closure, all these symptoms, PTSD, stress, anxieties. What is he running from? Could be deeply rooted into childhood trauma, parental trauma. I'm not saying that exists in him. I'm just saying if he's a fraud, and look at the why, and all those other things. And don't forget that he's a human being. And that's why I believe experiencers, when they're telling me they're experiencers in their moment, because the whole idea of being on that podcast is to be able to express themselves. And if I were to say I don't believe you on that podcast during that time, in that moment, are other experiencers going to come forward and share their experience? And just because I may not believe every single one of them, with the report, and that's where the ultra spectrum report and everything comes out. That's important to let you know which ones we're willing to put some money behind, in the sense of defending, and what ones are close and all that other stuff. I would put Randy's case right now as inconclusive, simply because there's enough evidence to prove that perhaps he wasn't part of these programs in this time frame, this life. But if you understand the consciousness and where the mind goes, and alternate dimensions and realities, if those are true, then it's possible he served this time in his mind elsewhere. Now, does that mean that he's mentally ill, or does that mean PSYOP programs? We don't have those questions because we're not diving up into it. But there still are other elements that could prove his point. But there's other experiencers in the world that are listening to this. Some experiencers that may actually be on the podcast, on the roundtable on next Thursday, that experience secret space program. And and they don't know Randy, and with me relating to this, the tones that I get in the downloads, the messages and things like that, those are characteristics that are similar, but those also could have been read. They could have been fabricated. There's a whole bunch of information, so like there's a lot going on here. All right. What's my shirt say? The future is kindness. Look at that. The future is kindness. Remember that. All right, let's get to the questions, and then I'm gonna head downstairs, and I'm off until 8:00 tonight for those podcasts because I need to nap. All right, Captain Kramer, interesting interview. Not sure how much I believe, but value his input. Always consider he's giving the truth in some form, worth listening. Yeah, and that's it. There are some truths. There's enough infinite information in there to prove him honest and integrable. There's enough information in there to prove that he's deceitful. I mean, it depends on what point you're trying to prove and prove to your case. Whenever you have a defense attorney and the crown, like prosecutor, all those other things are all meant to play certain roles. And a lot of people defending the criminals believe that the criminals did it, but it's still their job to defend them. You gotta. This is a game. This is part of it. Okay. Lisa Savoy, there's too many haters out there for people. If you don't believe in someone, fine, just get rid of it. It's okay. The hatred, all this other stuff, the opinions are there. They're allowed. I want you to continue to ask your questions. I want you to continue. And the thing is that in Stephen's defense, the question in which he asked was framed right. It was nice. And Randy's reaction was a little bit over the top in comparison to how it was worded. I will agree with that. And there was a bit of an explosive personality from that, but that could come from a plethora of social issues that I'm not aware of. Okay. And it's not relevant to that at that time. So it's okay to have a disagreement. What I'm trying to emphasize is it's not okay to bully. It's not okay to victimize. It's not okay to call names. It's not okay for Randy to threaten physical violence to anyone that didn't believe him. That's not okay. Okay. There's a lot of things in there that I'm disappointed with, but I don't get to do this. I don't have time to do this. And I just feel like it escalated to a point where I had to do this. And that's why I'm talking about it. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to. And Randy, if you're ever watching this, like, I'm sorry, man. Like, you put me in a pickle with the things that you said. And if you are this problem for everyone else and you're not telling the truth, then, I mean, it's going to be hard for you. It's going to be very, very hard for you. But if you are telling the truth, then don't worry about it. Just pick your friends and do what you got to do. It's a tough gig. Look at Stephen Greer, look at Lou Elizondo, like going back and forth. Chris Rutowski, for shit's sakes. I proved one point, but that doesn't mean his entire ufology career was shit. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. Doesn't mean I need to shoot or kick him while he's down. It's just that one bad thing. We talk about it, we move on, and then I can continue talking about him, hopefully in positive things. Secret space programs are real, but to what extent remains to be seen. Yeah, like a secret space program is a program in space that we don't know about, but we do know that they're in space. So it's very probable that even the moon landing was a secret space mission, because they went there and they did whatever, if they landed on it, whatever that was, and they didn't, whatever side of that event you want to be on, part of that was secret. And that is a secret space program. And if they, and it's just, there's that assumption that means the full narrative of Starship Troopers, and I see that in Randy's story. I get that. I've seen the movies. It does remind me of the backstory of that. But then where do these people get the information and creative elements? Let's look at Spielberg and from the Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That is based on credible UFO event. Just change the location. It's a movie, but it was and the fourth was it the Fourth Kind? With Mila Jokovic or whatever. That one. That's a movie based on actual events or true events and things like that. So like things like that happen. Starship Troopers is not based on actual events according to the way that it was filmed. However, where did the idea come from? You need to talk to the director. You need to talk to the writer to consider the source to figure out where that's coming from. So is Randy piggybacking off of that? It's possible. It's probable. That's where the idea had. Or is it really happening? It's possible, because we can't go there. We don't believe it because it doesn't seem likely with all the other things we understand. But we can't forget the possibility. Everything's possible with enough evidence, so it can be proven. It just depends on what's good enough for you. Where are we here? Lisa. Oh, yes, open objectively, not hate. Yep. Okay, Thomas Corvidia. I serve in the secret space program myself. Thank you for divulging that and sharing that on this channel. I can't verify and validate that, so I believe that you believe that happened. That's the best that I can say, and that's the point. Until I can verify and validate, and that's all I can give you. I can tell you it's 100% real. So far as an experience or testimony, I believe that from the sense that I know other people that have reported similar things that would fit in that category, and I can't quite figure out what that may or may not be because there is other linking circumstantial evidence to support that. I would encourage you to make a report. So testacan.org. I'll show you here. If you go to our website and click submit a report, I can dive a little bit deeper into this for you. Okay. And then, and if Randy Kramer were to make a report, then I would have the opportunity to do what it is that I do best. Don't just take the word of one whistleblower. Listen to hundreds of people who have come forward. Now, that's a good point. So Randy does have supporters. Randy does have listeners that may be looking up to him. Just as right now, I have a bunch of experiencers. Some are in the chat room that look forward to hearing me and what I say, and some of that might affect their day. It's very hard to be in that influence or perspective. If we believe a little bit that maybe Randy was chosen for a secret program that isn't classified yet, that's why these records don't exist. It does provide a sense of validation that what Thomas has divulged today is true or may have happened, but it's up to Thomas to also take what he says and compare that to his experience and also get that investigated properly through many other things. But it also, in the same time, Thomas, it gives opportunity for those to take advantage of you. So he may, and just like others, may be just selling a story that sells in order to fill his pockets. That's possible, but I can't prove that intent any different than I can prove that he was in the space program. So you guys as experiencers, and that's the thing is I don't think Stephen, he makes reference that I'm an experiencer. I experienced something, but it very well could have been human oriented. I didn't experience the space program. Perhaps, maybe, maybe that's where the hive consciousness is coming in from. I've checked. I don't have any implants that I'm aware of. I have an incision in my leg from a normal procedure, and I watched them do it, so I know nothing went in and nothing came out. So there's I consider all those things, but this is where it's challenging. So the experiencer, okay, you take every little bit with a grain of salt. You take the messages from these people, you take the messages from other people, you take your own research. Where I help, where we help. Is we break down your event and remove the fluff and see what's left over and to come to a conclusion that maybe what you did experience fits in that category, and then we can do deeper dives. But we need to remove a whole bunch of things. You do need whistleblowers. You do need people coming forward, but so many people buy the book and believe it, and it's really hard. It's really hard to do that. And I, and that's why I hope my putting up my books and all these other things that you guys will see what I'm doing with the information and if that works for you, it works for you. Don't idolize me. Don't start a freaking cult or anything stupid like that. I don't want that. But I have to play the same game. It's difficult, and there's always that risk, and I'm sure. And I take responsibility by inviting Randy on because he's a fan favorite of our experiencers, and I take responsibility of how Randy is feeling because of being treated that way, and I take responsibility on how Steven feels because he is trying to prove a point which he's been trying to prove for a very long time in his audience. So everyone has a glove in this fight, or a dog in this fight. Pardon me. I get it. Somewhere in the middle is the truth. Okay? And that's where we got to figure out. We got to balance those thoughts. Where are we here? Lisa, I talked with Randy many times. He's a great person, and I find his psionics course great. Now, the course itself could be helpful in the terms of developing psychic abilities, working through learning meditation, learning things like that. There's nothing wrong with learning that stuff. If you can afford it, then that's great. Payment plans, however that works, that's between you and him. If he gave it to you for free, that's between him. Just because he charges for it doesn't mean he won't give it for free. There's things, right? Like I have a book, you can pay $24.99 on Amazon right now. You can get the Kindle version, or you can get it for free. If you email admin@tessacan.org and ask for it, I'll send you a link for free. I mean, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Just let us know that that's why you want it for free. But if you can, then please buy, but if you can't and you need it, things like that, just because it's for sale doesn't mean money is the target. A lot of humanism here, a lot of human problems. No aliens. Once again, social issues, criminal issues, but no aliens. Hey, Ryan, listening in while working. Right on, Spooky. Thanks for tuning in. Serena says to Thomas, interesting. Have some personal MyLab type experiences. Agree 110%. Right on. Thomas, I guess towards Tessa, which I'm assuming me, is it's something about Randy. He draws more haters than just about any other secret space program bats. You should interview Joe Fritz if you want the big picture. Hey, and they can request to be guests at any time. We don't really, if that comes up, I remember that I know that name. I mean, I'm always open to interview anybody that wants to be interviewed at that time and whatnots too. The other thing is people have been doing this for a while, and if you start to make money from this, you're gonna start doing things differently that continues to pay the bills. And if you make money off of this, then you become dependent on it. And when you become dependent on it, you might fudge a little things, stay current in exchange, and do all these other things in order to stay popular, in order to continue paying for your bills, because it becomes a lifestyle. So all those things are possible. Tessa needs money. We have expenses to pay for and things like that too. But we, and so there's certain things that we do to drive the sale home. But it's how, merchandise, that means fans, that means cool branding. That's something that you want because you like what we're doing. It's donations to a charity in which we're doing this event for, which we get to share some of the profit, but at least we're giving some of it back, and we were open about that. There's membership. What do you get in exchange? You get bonus content. You get me live one-on-one, things like that. So, there's a big mess, but these guys have been doing it for so long. And when you tell a lie, you have to keep lying to keep it going. So if you really want to figure out Randy or anyone, Lou Elizondo, go back to the first public video that they ever said. That is the truest statement that could ever come from it. Everything after that would be marketing and whatever works, and when it seems to give positivity, that seems to fuel whatever it is that they're doing it for. And then you continue to do those things until you obtain your goal. But you go to the first interview and you do a line-by-line statement analysis, you'll have the best and most formed truth, and everything else has just been evolved over time with many, many, many factors. The plan if they were orchestrated, if they were trying to sell a lie, it would be incepted in their mind the day that they did their first interview. So if anybody knows the first interview of Randy, I'll take a look at that and do that for you. Where are we here? Serena, my earliest cognitive memory is being sent back from the secret space program. All right, Thomas, make a report, pal. Please make a report. I'm going to type this in the comments for you. www. Because then I can compare you to others that have said the same. And then we can have a really good chat. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Sorry. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Yes, you're correct. Thank you for saying that. Secret space pro haters remind me of homophobes. They hate us because deep down inside they know they were involved in it themselves and they're afraid of being ridiculed. Well, there's that element. There is that. And to use homophobic as an example, there are many people that hate that about you because it's what they feel about themselves and they're worried about themselves. There's some self-projection there. You gotta be careful with my psychology. I'm not allowed to. Not that I'm not allowed to. I'm not a psychologist, but I understand psychology. But so there's a little bit for criminal profiling, things like that. So I'll just be clear. So you got to look at all that. And again, does that matter? At the end of the day, the person has experienced something. There's trauma. We've got to work through all those things to get to the root of it. And there are a lot of people that have problems, but there are also experiencers that let's use Thomas as an example because I don't and Serena. I've worked with Serena. Serena's a member of our team. I'm willing to take what she says at face value a little bit more easier because I've already vetted her and I've already done work with her in some sense to establish that rapport. But that doesn't mean she's not lying. I just haven't had it's just there's not enough of a problem or enough evidence to prove that it exists to be able to spend time and allocate that it's a problem. Because we can't prove aliens exist, we can't prove ghosts exist, we can't prove other dimensions. Everything's theory, right? So it's about spending your time and assets and resources and all those other things too. I'm not saying I don't believe it, Serena. I'm just saying that it's just I'm using that as an example to show that there are some biases that are present also as well that we need to be mindful of. Would love to hear more. Yeah, much to uncover there. Exactly. Question. What about secret space program having screen memories? They still experience something about what they remember is implanted. So that is important with the reporting part. I get the information and then I pick it apart and I fact check it and weed it out and then we can kind of verify and compare. On an individual level, it's very difficult to determine whether this memory is coming from a past life, B, a past movie or something you've seen, dreams. We don't know where the messages are coming from. So we take my download for an example. I don't know who transmitted that. And if it was even transmitted, it could have been myself. I don't have enough evidence to confirm who or what presented that. I can just confirm that it's something I've never seen before and something I've never done before, and it was an experience, and that was it. That could have been from a secret space program. It could have been my labs. It could have been a memory from my past or someone else's future or something. Who knows? There could be some prophetic elements attached to that. How do we prove that? We need to study more people of the same and group them and categorize this. We've just begun to scratch the surface. And to start, we need more people coming forward and making reports. And then I can explain that a little bit better. Where I might need people like Randy who understands that, or other people who understands the secret space program a little bit better with the most credibility. I'm going to be looking for people at that point, but not at this stage. Dream simulation training. Yeah. So we don't know where consciousness goes when we're in dream state. We don't know if it's internal, external, extraterrestrial, outside of this world. We don't know. For sure, some people have beliefs and theories and all this other stuff, but there's not one theory. There's not one general theory that covers it all. So I can't answer that. One of my alters had a near-death experience, and that caused a massive amount of quantum entanglement. That's how I know I was in secret space program. So, like, without having all the facts, Thomas, I would say that that's how you know you had an experience. You experienced something that you can't explain. To confirm that it's part of a secret space program, you would need some sort of evidence that briefs you when someone says, hey, you're involved in the secret space program, don't tell anyone. Like that, that's kind of that evidence that you need to confirm that. But having a near-death experience, you can confirm that because you went through that experience, and because that has happened, certain things had happened afterwards. You compare your life before, compare your life now, you see the change. But I'm curious to know what other supporting evidence you have that confirms definitively that your belief that it was a secret space program. I would agree with you that you had an experience, and it could be part of that. But how do you know for sure that that's what it was? It might be something else, which is also part of the reporting part. Why it's important to report. Stephen from True Seekers doesn't like Travis Walton, Richard Dolan, and Betty Barney Hill. Story thinks they're fake. Don't understand it. Well, that's his opinion, and I know that these are favorable people. I like Richard Dolan, but there are things that he's lied about or omitted. Okay, he didn't really lie; he just omitted things. And that's still bad. But like, there's reasons and valid things like that, and someone could. I could be on somebody's radar. I'm sure there's podcasts out there where people are doing the same thing about me. And, it's just, I'm interested to know the index event for Stephen as to what has triggered him to be this vigilante. Doesn't mean he's wrong. It's just his drive. Being a magician, a master of deception and in the system, and maybe some deception has happened to him. With my experience with the Army, I don't trust the administration aspect of the Army, but I do trust a lot of other things within the Army. But that's my reason why I'm in disclosure and misinformation, because I was a victim of misinformation and disinformation and hiding information. It took me longer to get out than it did for me to get in because of mistakes that were made to cover up things, not aliens, but it's just stuff. So that kind of formulated why I am focused on having disclosure accurate, because information is important to be accurate, because when it's not accurate, things happen. So there's a little bit of that. That's my index. That's my why. There's also like on the security aspect. Why did I create a security investigative company? Because people I care about and know about have been affected by criminals and did not have any support that they needed because of bad information, and they got away with it for free. And it happened to me personally, to people I care about. So I put a flag in the ground per se, to say that anything that lands on my desk will get the most inaccurate information as possible, so that way they have the chance to defend themselves in court properly, good or bad. These are examples of my why. That's my drive. But I still, even though that's my why, I still have to balance. I still have to consider in order to be credible and things like that. And that's the challenge. And I think some of these people understand their why. They got their own pain and suffering that they're dealing with, or maybe they haven't dealt with. And sometimes they forget that they're suffering too. Right? So that's kind of where I'm at with that thought. The issue with looking back at the first interview is that, speaking from an experience, is that I've had a bunch of memory caps pop. I don't know you. I don't recognize your name, so I'm not quite sure if you've been doing this for a while. I do, but I mean, or you're just talking about a podcast. I don't understand the context. So I understand what you're saying, and that can be an issue. It's not always the issue, and there's a lot of variables and a lot of things that need to be considered, which is why reporting is recommended, so I can understand you as an individual and all those parameters to understand what profile I'm working within. I've retained a lot of technical knowledge. If you want to pick my brain, I can tell you how to build a warp drive. Yeah, there's things like that a lot of people claim. I can learn how to drive. There's patents online. There's information on Google. I can learn, if I wanted to, how to build a warp drive by using the internet and the dark web. That doesn't mean that you've done that. I'm just saying there's other possibilities. Just by saying that you can do it doesn't necessarily mean you can. And with the program, with the process of reporting, we believe you, but you must be able to, in order for it to be effective, you must be willing to investigate and doubt yourself, or fact check yourself, because then we'll land somewhere in the middle. And then if there's no evidence to go either way, then we would have to be inconclusive. We'd have to agree to disagree, and that's the way evidence works. As long as we can both agree both sides, that's where we want to be. And if I'm agreeing with you, then that's better, because it's like, what? I can't, there's something going on here. Let's take a deeper look. That's how we process that. Spooky. I don't talk about my own experiences, although all that much. I'm on a search for evidence that it exists. Yeah, that's great. Thomas, experience having these ships put together. I have seen one. Yeah, perfect. And that's it. Hi, Chantel. Yes, you are late, but this is the end. This is the end, my friend. God help us all. Yeah, hey. Good to see you. What's up? All right, kids. Thanks for watching. Tune into the podcast tonight on the observation deck. CC, I got your message. I'll message you later. I'm waiting on the link to get access to the show, so I can send that to you. If you want to be part of it, you can. The marketing part, they didn't have time they've messed up so many things when they made the first advertisement. I got them to correct it, and they still made a mistake, but it's enough. It's forgivable enough to move forward and get there and do it. So if you want to be a part of it, you can. I will send you the link and we'll go from there. I don't know how long the podcast is going to be, but I have another one at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to have to dip out and do whatever. So anyways, damn it, Thomas. I served in Dark Fleet, and people asked for hard physical evidence of something that happened light years from there. Well, you can't blame them for asking, because that needs to be proof. But how do you prove that, right? So there's a way to prove that, and you got to trust me, and you got to make a report, and we'll work through that. And if I don't come to the same conclusion as you, that doesn't mean that I'm right. It just means that I'm looking for a certain level of evidence to support, to help what I'm particularly looking for. And anyone who reports, I would encourage you to report to as many people as you can trust, and then take their perspectives and put it all together. And then what do you believe? As long as you're doing good things with it, that's the only thing I'll say. As long as you're doing good with it. And with Steven is doing good with showing that side. There are a lot of people that do good by showing the good side with Randy. What I'm trying to convey here is that middle ground, and that neither party has enough evidence to suggest otherwise. So by choosing the middle road, you understand the possibilities of both, and you use that when you need to make referrals or things like that, or you put cautions out there. Here's somebody I know, it's a little bit controversy. I'm not quite sure if I would recommend this guy wholeheartedly, but some people like to make a choice for your own, and that can still be done. Where I would like to get a place to is I don't know anyone else that understands secret space program, whether it's a lie or not. So if I need to talk to an expert who understands that to help these experiencers, right now he's the only guy. I will find others. I will, and trade and do all these other things. That makes it difficult. But but I'm not an idiot. So if he gives me something that I can't verify and fact check to prove, I won't use it, because it's not good for the experiencer. So as a bridge and as that portal, I'm very useful for you guys in that too. So that's wrapping up the first end of this video, Chantel. So you should, if you catch it from the beginning, you'll understand why I'm here and tired. And yeah. So anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. See you tonight. Experience your day next Thursday. Subscribe to YouTube. Live event all day, E-Day. Half the proceeds from super chats and super stickers will go to a charity. So just remember that. Okay. We're raising money We're going to set that bar, show an example on how we can possibly bring in some mental health charities and things like that in the future. So this is just a test pilot to see how that goes. And if you can't afford it, don't worry. Watch it, share it, subscribe, let other people know it exists. That's how you help too, because there'll be ads and everything as well. All right. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Heal the world.